Hey guys, in case you haven't noticed, I did totally drop the ball on uploading the full moon video for this month just due to being down for the past few days with some type of cold flu thing that I picked up while traveling. I am feeling better now and happy to be here with all of you as we take a look at the energies that are shining in and shaping up for Virgo season, which is happening in just a few days from today. In fact, the energies that were activated at the full moon, which happened on August 19th in the sign of Aquarius, are the very same energies that are now ushering us into Virgo season. So we're going to be taking a look at what's going on throughout the duration of Virgo season as like the overall big picture. And then, of course, I'm going to be chiming in throughout Virgo season with the new moon and full moon energy updates as well. But let's go ahead and dive in here. The energies that we've been experiencing over the past 10 days or so leading up to the full moon have been uniquely dynamic in the way that they are very expansive energies. They are change-oriented energies, sort of like a shake-up type of energy that we're experiencing now. It may feel like things that you've been working towards or you're having ideas about for the past many months are suddenly showing up, and there's a lot to juggle. This can be a time where we feel like we're juggling a lot of different irons in the fire. However, it feels like all of these energies are supporting us in achieving what we've been striving for. So we can't complain about that, right? It's just important to stay grounded in the here and now and not let the quickening feeling of the energy sweep us out of our inner sense of balance. Ultimately, these energies with the planets that are at play, which we are going to talk about and take a look at in a little bit, these energies are continuing to call us into stepping into our next level of evolution. Now, that, of course, can be evolution on a personal growth or soul development level, but it's also evolution in the way of us coming into our next sphere of expansion in life. And that can be, again, connected to whatever our aims and ambitions have been. This is definitely a time of us rising into that next level of higher timeline. I invite you to take a moment and pause and reflect and notice how things are shaping up for you and showing up and manifesting based on intentions you've had, dreams that you've had, ideas that you have that maybe you even put on the back burner of your mind and haven't really been concretely striving for. And now all of a sudden they're here, they're shaping up. So we're going to take a deeper look into these energies in a minute. I am going to show you the chart that is for the first day of Virgo season so that we can get a look at what we're starting out with as we're stepping into these energies. But I also want to remind us all that this Virgo season is extra in the way that we do have a lunar eclipse happening during Virgo season. And this lunar eclipse is going to be happening in the sign of Pisces, which is essentially an energy of all of us taking off the rose-colored glasses and seeing with clarity whatever it is that we need to see so that we can shift even deeper into emotional healing, ultimately leading to transformation and positive change. So we're going to take a look at those things as well. Let me go ahead and pull up the chart so that we can explore this together. So the main difference of the energies that were activated with the full moon that happened in Aquarius on the 19th and the energies that we're stepping into with the first day of Virgo season, the main difference really is just the placement of the moon, which has shifted into Aries by the time we get into Virgo season, which is definitely going to lend itself to us feeling like a motivation and a drive in the direction of our goals. So let's look a little bit deeper into Virgo season. So that is, of course, the sun shifting into Virgo. It is still relatively conjunct Mercury, which has just passed through the sun a few days ago, which gives Mercury like a revitalization of energy. However, let's talk about the themes of Virgo season. Shamanically speaking, the archetype of Virgo is about embodying your own inner high priest or priestess with the intent of rededicating yourself to whatever your sense of sacred work is. So this can be connected to just living in alignment and doing the work of the calling of your higher self, doing the work of the calling of spirit, God, the universe. And that is really what is meant by what your sacred work is. So we utilize the gifts that Virgo bring to feed our sacred work. And those gifts are connected to organization, productivity, attention to detail. So this is a time where we can be more practically minded and grounded in whatever our inspirations are connected to our sacred work. And I say inspiration because we're just exiting Leo season, which is all about creative inspiration, courageousness, empowered self-leadership. And now we're taking all of that expansion that we've experienced through the duration of Leo season and just coming out of that Lionsgate portal, which I have already talked about in previous videos. Now we get to ground that energy into 3D practical reality. So let's take a look at how the astrology that we're stepping into with Virgo season is further emphasizing this. So the first thing that I want to show you all here, and let me just make sure I can mark this up, is we've got the sun in Virgo, and see this green dotted lines here? I'll make a line to it here. Going to Pluto and Neptune. And they, of course, are both in a sextile alignment with each other. So this shape here is called a yod. And a yod is a point of activation. When yods show up as transits, it brings extraordinary powers, which we'll talk about. It brings fated events, and it also acts as like an esoteric tuning fork that rebalances our energies and heightens our sense of spiritual connectivity to ourselves. So that really is extra aligned, being that it is in Virgo, and Virgo is all about embodying your inner high priestess or your high priest and rededicating to your sacred work. So this particular yod is between the sun, which is our awareness, our identity. And in shamanic astrology, it's connected to the type of fuel that we burn. It's our approach to life, how we express ourselves through life. So Pluto being connected to the sun and Neptune being connected to the sun. The aim of Pluto is always transformation and evolution. And Neptune is about our inner mystic. So the superpower or the extraordinary power that this yod is bringing us all collectively and individually is illuminating our awareness around what our deeper mystical vision is for ourselves in our lives. And Pluto supports us and guiding us through the transformative energies that ultimately will lead to that evolution that we're talking about. What are the other evolutionary energies that are showing up? It's strong. Let me show you here. we have a trine, and this is called a grand trine between Uranus, Pluto, Venus, which is in Virgo, and then back up to Pluto. Now, Pluto right now is still in Aquarius. So normally when you have a grand trine, all of the planets involved with that are in the same element: earth, air, fire, water. So right now Pluto is still in the air sign of Aquarius, but it moves into Capricorn on September 1st. So that's going to drop us into the earth. What's earth energy? Manifestation energy. Okay, so this trine is significant as we are coming into Virgo season. The Uranus energy that we've been experiencing in the sign of Taurus definitely is manifestation energy, because Taurus energy, ruled by Venus, which is a part of this trine, inspires us to want to create beauty in our environment, which further emphasizes this Virgo theme of, a part of us stepping into our sacred work is creating the space for that, which can originate in our home. And that home can be the home of our body, tending to our healthy wellness needs, and creating sacred space in our home or work environments. So creating a prime space for positive evolutionary transformation, which is where Pluto is coming into the mix. And then, of course, Uranus is the change maker. Uranus is revolutionary energy. So we have evolutionary energy happening with Pluto, revolutionary energy happening with Uranus, and then Venus in the mix is holding the space for things unfolding in a beauty way, in a harmony way. This grand trine is a harmonious energy, but take a look to see where it's hitting your natal chart for more detailed information on exactly how to work with the energy for you. So, spirit, universe, life, bringing us concrete 3D experiences that become a container for us to shift into whatever it is that we seek to contribute to life as a part of our sacred work. Now, let's talk about this conjunction between Jupiter and Mars, because this energy is also a big part of the expansive energies that have been coming in. Jupiter is the planet of expansion. It's growth. It's opportunistic. It's good fortune. Mars is our drive, our ambition, our determination, our will. It's where the action is in our chart. And it's in Gemini now. So this is going to be targeting Gemini oriented themes. So this is things connected to sharing ideas. It can be learning, studying, developing projects that have anything to do with any form of communication, whether that's verbal or digital. It can even be connected to forms of communication that are media oriented. This is significant in the way that this is launching a 2-year cycle. So this doesn't happen again until sometime in 2026. And so whatever is showing up for you now, even if it's right now just in the realm of what your ideas are ideas that can be tangibly manifested over the course of the next 2 years. So this is like seizing the moment of opportunity, guys, right? So this isn't so much predicting the energy as much as it is informing you of what the energy is so that you can embrace it and work with it and gain the most out of it. Like, for example, if I use me in my life, I am Aries rising. So in my chart, this is happening in the realm that naturally rules Gemini, which is the third house. Okay. And so for me, I do have quite a bit of projects going on that are dealing with different forms of communication, including online courses that I'm developing and things like that. So this is me knowing this and aligning my projects with this energy so that they will produce the best results overall. So I'm just sharing that with you guys to give you an example of one way that you could be working with these energies. So the other thing that we can see is that this Mars Jupiter conjunction is making a sextile aspect to the sun, which again is motivating even more of a sense of drive. So wherever the Gemini sector of your chart is going to inform you as to the themes of how it's showing up for you, right? So for example, if it's in, let's say, your seventh house, then it could be communication, things that are connected to the relationship sector of your life. If it's in your 11th house, it could be communication related themes as it's connected to your circles of friends. If you're a person who wants more in-depth insight on all of this, of course, you can reach out and book an appointment with me for a reading. We can do an astrological reading of your chart and how these are all impacting you right now, especially with the fact that we've got that eclipse coming up, which I'm going to talk about in a moment. These, what I'm showing you now, is just the energies that we're launching into Virgo season with. There's squares happening with Saturn and with Neptune to this Jupiter Mars conjunction. So what is Saturn? Saturn is, on one level, brings us into the 3D realm of life. It can be connected to the archetype of like, okay, what is the owner's manual of how do I do this? How do I navigate what my ideas are? Because Jupiter is bringing us into big ideas. And Mars gives us the drive to launch those ideas into being. And in this case, Saturn can actually help us to implement a grounded manifestation of those ideas. So the squares are little checkpoints and they can feel challenging, but those challenges aren't necessarily bad. We want to not be in the mindset of squares being bad. They're challenges, but it's during times that we're creatively challenged that we can end up creating our most rewarding life experiences because we're greeting that challenge with a creative mindset. And that's what's going on here, especially with Neptune, implementing creative pathways to manifesting whatever your ideas are that you're being inspired to take action on right now is what this energy is all about. And then also squaring Venus over here, which again is the harmony beauty factor. And in Virgo, Venus is taking care of the details in ways that can help things to unfold in a harmonious type of way, because that is the vibe of Venus. Venus is all about beauty, harmony, balance, creativity, and love. And in fact, self-love is probably the biggest theme of the entire Virgo season. Because look, we have this opposition going on between Venus, love, balance, harmony, self-love, and Neptune, which is the inner mystic, our inner spiritual realm. So ultimately, everything is funneling towards that as we talk about the overarching theme of Virgo season being all about rededicating ourselves to serving spirit. So serving the vision of your higher self, serving the nudges of your soul, serving the nudges of the universe, noticing how the universe is showing you you're being supported in whatever your inner sense of sacred work is, and believing in that and letting that be your guide right now. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing the screen, and we're going to talk about some of the other things that are happening during Virgo season. Okay, here we are. So the sun enters Virgo on August 22nd. On August 24th, the asteroid Vesta also moves into Virgo. Vesta is an asteroid that is connected to the archetype or the energy of our symbolic inner flame that ignites our soul. So this is igniting what our deeper passions and enthusiasms are. In Virgo, again, it's about our sacred work. On more 3D levels, it's also about our healthy wellness. So this is a time where we want to nurture ourselves. So that healthy wellness is holistic, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, as within, so without. So nurturing our inner health needs and our outer health needs. Again, creating a sacred space for yourself, being aware of what you're ingesting energetically, right? What your energetic diet is. This means being mindful of the people you associate with, the information that you're taking into your awareness through social media, through the news, and things like that. This is a time of really nurturing yourself in those ways that are feeding your spirit. So that's happening on August 24th. On August 28th, Mercury goes direct. Woohoo! And Mercury will go out of its shadow period on September 11th, which means that it's going back to the degree it was in before it originally started going retrograde. So that's really when we're fully transitioned out of the Mercury retrograde energy. While we're still in the shadow period, is what it's called, is a really good time to reflect upon whatever transpired and awarenesses that you had during the actual retrograde phase. So we can say it's a time of integrating those things and implementing new ideas and moving forward as we're coming out of that shadow period. Okay, so on September 1st, Pluto retrogrades into Capricorn, and this is the last time that Pluto will ever be in Capricorn for the duration of our lifetimes. And this retrograde is going to be like a revisiting and a reflecting and a refining all of the ways that you have evolved since 2008, because that's when Pluto originally went into Capricorn. So look to see where the Capricorn sector of your chart is, and that's going to give you a heads up as to where the themes have been that you've been primarily developing in since then. Okay, so September 2nd, we have a new moon in Virgo, which is further emphasizing this theme that we have for the entire Virgo season around healthy wellness, soul purpose, goal-oriented productivity. I am, of course, going to be coming on a few days before the new moon and getting into like a deeper energy update around the specifics of the new moon astrology at that time. But just heads up, it's happening on the 2nd. On September 4th, Mars enters Cancer. So this is going to be action-oriented energy with themes around home, self-nurturing, things that are connected to your roots. This would be a good time for doing any type of ancestral healing type of work. For example, Mars being a fire-oriented planet and Cancer being a water-oriented sign, they kind of serve to dampen each other out a little bit. And so it's not the strongest placement for Mars, but we can still channel that energy in the direction of Cancer-oriented themes. Cancer brings themes that are connected to intuition, deep emotional connection, nurturing, and healing. Then on September 8th, Mercury moves back into Virgo, which is where it was before it went retrograde. So this is going to support us in completely refocusing in the direction of the serving spirit. Mercury there is literally refocusing us on that thought and idea and inspiration level. And then September 17th is when we have the full moon eclipse happening in the sign of Pisces. This is going to be a north node eclipse, so it's going to be ultimately geared towards new beginnings. So the Pisces energy in general connected to this eclipse is definitely going to heighten our intuition. It can bring in more of a sense of having psychic vision type dreams, whether those are nighttime dreams or daydreams that you're having. And the eclipse is happening at 25 degrees of Pisces. And I want to talk about the Sabian symbol for that because it is very intertwined with this overarching theme that we have. The Sabian symbol for 25 degrees of Pisces is purging the priesthood, which represents rooting out corruption, cleansing the mind of negativity. So, of course, we can see how this may play out on global levels, right? But we're going to focus on how we can work with this energy in our personal lives. So, this looks like shifting out of negative self-talk, shifting out of anything that feels like criticizing energy, toxic thinking patterns, ideas, beliefs that aren't serving you. And how do we do that? Well, it's not going to just happen naturally. The energy can support that, but we have to do our part to support the process, which looks like mindfulness practices, noticing when you're having a negative thought, and then putting a positive thought in its place or an affirmative thought in its place. And I'm a big fan of using words like I now choose and I now allow when we're working with reprogramming the mind on these levels, because the unconscious mind isn't always 100% on board with the I am way of speaking right away. We can get there, but, and I've talked about this before in some of my other videos, but for example, if you're working with positive affirmations and you're trying to shift out of, we'll say, lack consciousness, suddenly telling yourself, I am prosperous, I am wealthy, when you've had a long period of time of being in lack consciousness, simply saying, I am prosperous, I am abundant, is not going to work because you still have deep unconscious beliefs and thoughts that are contrary to that. You'll be able to recognize where you have a deep unconscious thought or belief that's contrary to an affirmation by how you feel when you say the affirmation. If you're saying the affirmation, and you can feel like a resistance in you, that you're not fully believing it, that's how you know that you still have a belief system that is contrary to the affirmation that you're saying. However, if you can say, I now allow abundance in my life, I now choose prosperity. These are concepts that are new that your unconscious mind can be completely on board with embracing. So try that and let me know how it goes. It works for me every time. And then eventually you will get to the point where you do believe it. And then you can say, I am prosperous, I am abundantful, and you'll feel it as being a truth and it will magnetize it to you, just as an example of how to work with these energies. Okay, so on September 22nd is when we're going to be moving into Libra season, and I'm going to make a video about that as well. So stay tuned for that. And once again, I am going to be coming on with the new moon and the full moon videos as we're moving throughout Virgo season. But I just wanted to give you all a little heads up as to what we can expect and how to work with the energies as we're moving into Virgo season. I'd love for you all to chime in and share whatever you want to share in the comments below as usual. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here for now. Blessings, all my love. Namaste. And I will see you in the next video.